If you're just randomly walking down the street one day, just take a second to notice all the people around you. It's very, very likely that most of them are either overweight or really overweight. This is incredibly common in Western culture and in America specifically. But why? I'm Rob, and I've been doing fitness for only God knows how long now, and I've got the answer to why. And if you could stomach sticking with me all the way into the end of the video, I will even leave you with the exact blueprint as to how you can go about getting your weight in order in the event that you fall into one of those categories. So let's get into it. If you ever notice when you walk into the supermarket, the focus is always aimed at the middle aisles. So much so that a lot of the supermarkets are even constructed in a way that you have to take long walks to get to the outskirts. This is because all the processed trash and garbage is in the middle aisle. And the whole foods like the fruits, the vegetables, the meats, fish, etc., they're all the way on the ends or even in the back of the supermarket. To be honest, all this is done purposely to lead you to the garbage. That's because the majority of the advertising dollars are spent to try to get everyone to eat processed foods because that is where the money is. Not to mention, the more processed foods you eat, the more likely you are to be overweight. And the more likely you are to get sick at some point because of it, end up at a doctor's office and on some kind of medication. This is how money is made. It's a business at the expense of your health and wellness. Sad but true. But this is why it's just so important to get educated on how to avoid falling into this loophole. The good news is it's really not that complicated. So let's talk about it. First things first, you need to know how much calories you're consuming on a daily basis. Most people don't even have a clue. If someone's 200 pounds and they're consistently 200 pounds without many ebbs and flows, it's safe to assume that they're eating at maintenance. But we need an actual number so that we understand what maintenance actually looks like. And there's only one way that you're going to be able to calculate that, and that's by knowing your total daily energy expenditure. And don't worry, there's no complicated algebra equation for this. All you have to do is click on the link in my bio. It's not an affiliate link, it's totally free. There's a calculator that I tend to use for myself and all of my clients, and it's right down below, so check that out. I'm just trying to save you a little bit of time. From there, you're just gonna punch in your information, just do it honestly, and then you'll have your starting point. The reason this number is so important is because now all you need to do is subtract from it to accurately put yourself in a calorie deficit. I don't suggest reducing calories by more than 500 because that's a pretty good way to make yourself miserable. Instead, just expand upon your deficit by increasing your activity level, either with your gym sessions or taking daily steps. Trust me on that. When it comes to your nutrition, this is a pretty open-ended thing, meaning you can pretty much eat however you want and still lose weight as long as you're in a deficit. But I am going to suggest some kind of guideline that you might want to follow because you really want to get the most out of this if you're going to end up putting the effort into it. Start by chilling out with the processed foods. Aside from them not being the healthiest to eat, you're going to find yourself to be more bloated if you're consuming a lot of them. And when you're bloated, and you can be actively losing weight and you don't even notice because you have this coating of subcutaneous water that's hiding you from your progress. This can be incredibly discouraging. It can get in your head and it can cause you to quit because it makes it seem like all your effort is in vain. So seriously, chill out with the processed foods. When it comes to eating out, if you have a life, you do this at time. If you have a girl, you do this at time. If you don't want to cook one night, you do this at times. This is very normal. But in the beginning, you really want to limit this. And for no other reason than because it makes tracking your calories really difficult. The thing is, when you eat out, you really have no idea how the food is being prepped. It can be marinated, grilled, glazed, baked, cooked in oil. You don't know what's going on. This can jack up the calories and make it really, really difficult for you to stay into a calorie deficit. Next, for those of you that like to have a drink once in a while, and this is going to be a really unpopular opinion, but you really want to stay away from that. Not only are liquid calories the most common reason as to why people can't lose weight, but when you really think about it, consuming them doesn't even make any sense. You end up pissing them out 20 or 30 minutes after you drink them, and it's like, don't you think you could come up with some better choices as to what you're spending your precious calories on? I want to think that you can. To top it off, Alcohol will reduce your sleep quality, increase cortisol, increase inflammation, slow your recovery time, and will do absolutely nothing but making losing body fat more difficult for you. I'm not your daddy. I can't tell you what to do, but I strongly suggest that you stay away from it. Lastly, when it comes to what you actually should be eating, remember what I said earlier about the outskirts of the supermarket? That's what you want to stick to. Stick to stuff like lean steak, chicken, eggs, oats, rice, fruits, vegetables, Greek yogurt. Mix and match any way you want. The thing about eating clean and nutrient-dense foods is that they're just more filling, they're more satiating. When you eat a bunch of garbage, your body ends up craving more garbage. They're always higher in calories, it's always more difficult to track. It is a one-way street to going nowhere. If you really want to make this as easy as possible, I would strongly suggest you stick to eating whole foods. Just make sure that you track everything and they're within your caloric range, which you'll be able to determine by getting your TDEE. That's it. Keep it really simple. And here we are at the end of the video. If you stayed this long, I want you to know I really appreciate it. As promised, here's my exact step-by-step summary of how you can go about losing weight starting right now. Find your maintenance calories. It's the first thing you want to do. Do this by using a TDEE calculator. Subtract 500 calories from whatever number you get, and that's how you start. Next, just be a little more mindful about what you're eating. If you're eating out a lot, cut back on it. If you're drinking a lot of liquids full of a bunch of calories, cut back on it. If you're drinking a lot of alcohol, cut back on that too. Pretty straightforward, non-groundbreaking stuff right here. Lastly, increase your activity level by getting in more daily steps and by increasing the intensity at which you train when you're in the gym. When you combine all three of these, you're going to get a synergy that really does make it pretty much impossible not to lose weight as long as you're tracking your calories correctly. If you guys try this for 2 weeks and get back to me with how you're feeling, I guarantee you that none of you will report anything but feeling better than you do right now. If you have any questions at all, whether it has to do with this video topic or not, just drop it down in the comments and I will be happy to get back to you. I really appreciate all of you watching. Here's to the very best in your weight loss journey.